We just do all things, talk all things movies, talk all things real. That's what this whole thing is about. Just real shit.
Parental advisory.
Because we're gonna keep it real up in here.
Real talk.
Ladies and gents, welcome back to episode 2, Real Talk After Dark. I'm your host, Ryan.
Oh, I'm Sarah.
I'm TJ.
And Dalton.
And we are back at it again.
But might I, bring it down just a little. We have a baby sleeping, dude.
It's okay, dude. It's exciting times tonight because we're going to be talking about originality in films. That's what episode 2 is all about today.
So when she originally kills you because you woke the baby up, got it.
It's okay, man.
It'll be fine.
It's all good because we're going to have a good time.
We're going to keep it chill.
We have a good time tonight. Episode 2 is also dedicated to the late and great Carl Weathers. Me and the boys just recently had a little Carl Weathers night, watched Predator, and even sat back and watched some Happy Gilmore clips with some chubs. Good times.
Hey, don't forget about the Predator holiday special we found.
The Predator holiday special, which was a good time. And that there is also some good originality while paying homage to an original classic. Because Predator is one of my all-time favorite original films. Just films altogether in general. Because Predator's awesome.
Would have never guessed that with what you named your son.
Yeah, we named our son
Never.
Dutch after Arnold Schwarzenegger is my action hero, and also Predator's my number one film of all time. Just my favorite film. So it's a good one. So originality, guys. What's some favorite original films of yours? Or let's talk about originality in Hollywood and where it's gone and all that.
Evil Dead is one of my favorites.
Yes.
There we go.
And I felt that it had a really good reboot too. I super enjoyed it. Have you guys seen the reboot?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, of course. It's one of my
really
favorites.
enjoyed it. Well, because I liked that it's kind of an original idea if you think about it. So the original Evil Dead, it was a comedy. Mm-hmm. They actually, a fun fact, I don't think that they it was supposed to be a comedy, but after the outpour of the crowd who loved it, who thought it was hilarious, they decided to take it up a notch and everything. But I liked the approach with the reboot because it goes in with, it makes it scary.
Yeah.
The first one's not scary.
Oh, no.
But the reboot.
And the sequel to the original is even funnier.
Yes.
I know. It's basically the same story.
So for those of you that are old enough to remember, shop smart. Shop S-Mart.
Oh my God. Well, and actually another fun fact, I actually watched that entire trilogy backwards. I saw Army of Darkness first, Evil Dead 2, and then Evil Dead. But it was because back then, you had to wait for it to be on TV.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I caught it.
Yeah. Her talking about having to wait and watch it on TV. Talking about originality. Kids today, they don't have to worry about having to get up at 6 a.m. to find out if they got school or not.
Yeah.
We had to watch it like an NBA lineup.
The school calls you now. I get a phone call. Oh, we're going to have a snow day. Oh, okay.
Now it's like, oh, wait, snow day. No, you guys got to do e-learning.
You had to wake up at 6 a.m., turn on that news channel, and sit there until your school popped up.
You just anticipation.
And then about that time your school comes on, Mom yells, well, what did I say? Shh, I missed it, Mom, because you were talking.
Yep. Oh, man.
Those are my favorites to wake up to because you didn't know. You went to bed not knowing.
Yeah.
Just saying that we'll have to find out in the morning.
Sometimes I went back to sleep. Sometimes I took advantage of having the whole day to myself.
Yeah.
It just depended.
Talking about originality, I think one of the greatest cartoons of all time has got to be The Simpsons. Because
it's still airing, man.
Oh yeah,
It's like the longest running.
36 years later.
Yeah.
They didn't have anything like that back then, and
They had PJs.
what the hell was that?
You never saw PJs?
PJs was probably after Simpsons.
No, it was during. It was. I mean, it didn't come out at the exact same time.
Long, though,
no, it definitely. And honestly, it did not get the credibility that it should have.
I didn't get into it as much as my dad.
You never heard of it? Oh my!
PJs.
But most people don't realize that The Simpsons didn't start on network television. It was actually a bit on the Tracy Ullman show.
Mm-hmm. That's right. It was.
And
then
did
it
you
was,
know? Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say, and then it was like comic book
Yeah.
too,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Oh, I didn't know that. I actually did know though. Whenever they did animate it and like put it on TV, they purposely like wanted to mess with people. That's why they made them yellow, so that people would be adjusting the color on their TV.
Yeah. That and Marge's hair. Why they made it blue? It was just to screw with people. Well, you know, a lot of shows have tried to emulate that and have utterly failed.
And some people have tried to take it a little bit further too, like you know, like Family Guy, and I think that they kind of take it a little too far sometimes. I fell out of Family Guy.
Yeah, I was never a big fan of it.
No, and then American Dad was okay.
Yeah.
I like Futurama a lot.
Yes.
I love Futurama.
Well,
I just thought it
well,
was
look,
good.
I
look
need
who
to-
makes Futurama.
Yeah.
The same guys that make what? The Simpsons.
That's fair. That's fair.
That is, yep.
I still have they dropped the new?
No,
That's
well, yeah,
coming
it's on
out.
Hulu.
It's on Hulu. Oh, that's why I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
Okay, we don't have Hulu.
I don't either.
Well,
I just- I knew it
remind me
went out.
before I leave, and I will sign you in.
I'll have to sign in all the time because it logs you out. Yes, it does because my little sister has it and it does it to me
Ours
all the
doesn't?
time.
No.
Mine does. Mine
No.
always has. But anyways,
Yeah, there's quite a few places that are following Netflix's password sharing now.
Yeah, but Hulu said that we're going to be original and let people just use it. See?
honestly, the only thing that Netflix has going for me is Wednesday right now.
Yeah.
I'm super excited for
I
the
know, I
next
cannot
season.
wait for that. And, you know, speaking of originality, you know, that really,
That ain't original.
you know, that was so well done.
It really was.
Like,
Me and him are the outcast here, so I don't think we've seen it. You haven't seen it, right?
What?
I haven't
Oh,
seen it.
what?
I've seen it
What?
I
5
tried
times.
to watch it. I didn't
Oh
really
my
get
gosh.
into
I
it.
couldn't.
And, like,
Really?
the one thing that I loved
Nothing against
was,
Jenna Ortega or Tim Burton. It just
Right.
wasn't my thing.
Well, I'm not
Then
saying
you-
it's not
then
my
you
thing. I just
really-
couldn't get into the first
then you,
couple
then
episodes.
you really
Really?
have it.
Oh.
Like, because you look at, like, Uncle Fester, one of the greatest comedic actors of all time, Fred Armisen. Fucking love that guy. First time I really got to see him was Euro Trip.
Oh yeah, Euro Trip.
But then you get Christina Ricci.
Mm-hmm.
She's a big part of that, and it's like, that's really cool, you know. And then they paid homage to, and I forgot the girl's name that played her in the original Addams Family.
Yeah, she's a character. She's actually got a really big role in it. It's super good. I cannot believe that you could not get into it. I've watched the series a few times.
I'm a fan of the original, the movies. Not the. I know that they had the show long ago beforehand, which obviously was around before we were born and stuff. But I grew up with the movies, the '90s movies that were really freaking hilarious and good. With
See,
Christopher Lloyd as Uncle Fester. And,
I've always been a really big
those are my
Wednesday
movies.
fan.
Yeah.
So her getting her own show, and it was just, you know, and I really loved the concept. Going to a school full of monsters, that's
Yeah.
freaking cool. What?
I mean, it's
And
fun
I
to
know
explore
I know
more if that's what
that's-
you want, but
Well, I mean,
I don't need
and
to
that's
explore
that's the
more.
things
I
I'll
enjoy the
openly
family
admit-
as a family, you know. what I
Yeah.
mean?
I'll openly admit I loved Monster High. So whenever they made Wednesday, it was kind of an adult version of Monster High. I
And
loved
see-
it. Absolutely loved
And
it.
see, people were like bagging on Luis Guzman as Adams.
I like him as an actor.
I
And,
do too. I do
and
too.
what's
I think
funny
he was
is
great.
if you paid attention to the cartoons and you paid attention to the
Yeah, he was never really that attractive looking
no,
guy.
he wasn't.
Exactly, and I hate that people like romanticized him as this attractive man because that's not.
Well, I mean-
and that's not what Morticia wanted. Yes,
No,
she was
but-
beautiful, but she saw the
But
inside.
but it's
Yeah.
because of Raul Julia. That is one
As I
beautiful
said, the
man.
late great Raul Julia, man.
I mean, that's fair, but no, seriously.
He was a
people were
fine,
mad.
attractive man.
But you know, no. So
was
like
horrible.
Luis brought his own spin to the character.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I thought he did great as Gomez. I absolutely loved him as well.
Catherine Zeta-Jones really surprised me as Morticia.
I
Because that
liked
was the
her.
one that I was like,
I don't know. I don't think that she's my favorite Morticia that
No,
I've ever
God, no.
seen.
Angelica Houston,
Yeah, but
hands down.
Yeah.
But like
she did better than what I was expecting
Yeah.
because a lot of people were saying that she was not a very good Morticia. So, because I think I waited until everything was out.
Yeah.
And then I watched it, so I heard some people say that she was a bad Morticia. I mean, she definitely wasn't the best.
Although
she's not the
the
worst.
girl that played the younger version of her did really well.
She did really well,
Yeah.
and she was very pretty too.
Yes.
I loved it. I thought it was very well done, and the ending I absolutely loved. I thought it was original. Honestly, it really was original. I enjoyed it.
What was it now?
Yeah. And I loved the way that they made Thing look because it traditionally Thing is just a
Thing's
severed
Thing,
hand.
man. Thing always looks Thing.
But
Thing is
the
Thing.
way that
He
they
looked the
make
same
him
to
look.
me. I mean, he was stitched up a little bit. I
But
know
yeah,
I saw
but that's
that. That was
the
different,
cool
but-
part about it because like Thing's past is unknown.
Yeah.
I mean, I know in the animated series.
Which, by the way, you getting to that, I was going to bring this up. So the rumor is Thing, because apparently they're connected in the same universe, Thing is actually the chopped off hand
of Ash,
of Ash.
that would be cool.
Interesting.
So,
I think I've heard that
That'd be
theory.
wild.
and I was like, now that's a wild theory.
That would be
That's
wild.
interesting.
But it would make so much sense because
Yeah.
they come from the same universe.
See, that I didn't know, and
Yeah.
I appreciate. That would be
Yeah.
that would be really
I
cool.
was like,
The only thing is it wouldn't make sense because in Evil Dead, Ash's hand is evil, but in the Addams Family, it seems to really be protecting the family, helping the family, and
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
keeping the family together. Because I mean, in Wednesday, he literally dies
Died, yeah.
for Wednesday.
yeah.
Spoiler, guys. You just spoil
If
all
If you
the
ain't seen it by now, you're screwed because we're going to give spoilers. I mean, it's been out for what, a year now?
I guess.
Almost more than that.
Yeah.
They drop it. He died.
Ah.
Oh wait, no, it's been out. I think it came out in October,
Missed the boat.
so it's only
No,
been about
that's not only been 6 months.
yeah, because it came out before Halloween time.
That's sad.
As much as I enjoy the Wednesday Addams Family talk going on here.
Yeah, we can cut
Let's
back.
go back to some originality. I remember back in the days, it just felt like growing up, you was always seeing original stuff. You know what I mean? Like you go to the theaters, it was always original movie trailers.
Yeah.
And because of you didn't really have the internet access, and they weren't dropping trailers before the movies, you were always getting new trailers at the movies. So you always saw the trailers at the movies. Like that was also the exciting part about going to the trailers before the movies, because nowadays everybody's seeing the trailers like watches them in advance because like they'll release them before the theaters get them and stuff like that. And I miss the days when they'd be like, if you go see this movie, there's a trailer that's going to be attached to it or something like they would tease that type of stuff. And nowadays it feels like you go to the movies and the trailers are obviously a lot of remakes, reboots, or superhero stuff like that. You know what I mean?
You want
It's
to talk
nothing.
about originality with movies. Honest to God truth, I think the most original movie I think I've ever seen is Clue. And
It was
here's why.
really good.
Here's why.
That's probably one of my favorite
but here's why.
board game,
Yeah.
just game adapted films ever. Just,
So, in '85, when they came out with Clue, Sarah went to see it in Wood River. Okay?
she did
Sarah
not.
saw the ending she saw. You and I went to Edwardsville to see it.
Oh yeah, I heard
We
about
saw
that.
an ending there.
Yeah,
I heard about that in the
Dalton went to
theater.
Alton, and he saw this one.
That's right,
So
yeah.
Dalton gets a hold of us. Dude, what'd you think about that ending? Miss Peacock was the murderer. Sarah goes, no, she wasn't. It was Miss Scarlet. And me and Ryan are like, no, dude, it was Mr. Body. It turned out that Mr. Body was actually, the butler. And they're like, what? Right there.
Wasn't there another ending where everybody was involved?
Yeah,
Well,
At least in one killing?
No, in all three of them.
No, you're thinking of the train
everybody killed somebody, but the big reveal was, in one ending it was Mrs. Peacock did it for
Yeah.
For such
for
and
some
such
such.
reason,
Miss
right.
Scarlet did it
Yeah.
because of this, and then you find out in the real ending.
I completely forgot they did that for that because
Yeah.
we
That's
weren't
crazy.
around for it. Because when I first saw it, they were like, or it could have went this way,
Yeah.
and
And-
then it went. It's like, or it could have went this way.
Yeah.
And they did that with the VHSs too.
Yeah.
Each VHS had a different ending.
Oh,
And so-
really?
Yeah. So
I don't think they released
I
it
don't
like
know, 'cause
with
when I
all of the
first-
endings until it came out on DVD.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Oh, I feel like when I first saw it, I saw all the endings, but it was on
You probably-
VHS tape.
No,
I didn't own it.
If anything, you would have seen it on TV.
I don't. It's
Maybe.
been so long
But-
now, and
I was
all
gonna say,
all
that
I
should be so
recall
hard to
seeing is
remember.
the
Right.
endings
Yeah.
together.
So like, and my mom was telling me about it that her and my brother's dad went and seen it, and,
That's so
then like so each theater had a different ending, and I'm
yeah.
like, that's really original when you think about it,
Mm-hmm.
because it had everybody talking.
Yeah.
I feel like the
it's
only
a good promotional strategy.
I feel like the
Yeah.
only movie to have ever done that since,
Definitely.
and it wasn't with a lot of. It was only 2 different ones, but it was with the the movie X-Men Origins Wolverine that gets kind of shat on and stuff. But they did that with the post-credit scene, where they did that with where they had one scene where it was Deadpool seeing that his head was still alive and his hand was grabbing him, and he was like shh. And then the other one was Wolverine at a bar, and he was at the Japan bar, and he realized that was setting up for the sequel. So, like, I remember one place got one, and the other... So, like, I don't know if any other movies really have done that, except for Clue is
Yeah.
obviously major, because that was more endings. This was
And-
post-credit
Yeah.
stuff,
and
but
keep
still.
in mind that's way before the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
that I mean,
The internet was too new for things like that to
Yeah.
be going through
Yeah.
it. Because the internet's been around since...
well,
Well,
actually,
it's-
Ryan learned about that last night.
Right.
It's been
Strange.
to the public since '93.
Yeah,
Right.
The internet had actually been
Yes.
around since 1976.
Yeah.
I
They,
freaking know
yeah.
this.
They used them
I
in the
found-
military.
Yeah.
See, military.
I got my mind blown because I was like, you gotta be kidding me. The internet was around that long?
Yeah,
He
yeah.
had no
And the
clue.
fact that they keep that stuff from you, it's like, what else do
Yeah,
they keep from
the
you?
internet-
But that's
the-
getting too
the
political.
Yeah, let's
That's getting too-
not.
The
We
internet's
won't talk about
backing up.
conspiracy.
Yeah.
Backing up.
Back it up. Beep,
Uh,
beep.
and I told him, I said, just imagine being in the
reverse
military
there.
back in the 70s when they first brought it out. Thinking of how slow that shit really was.
Going scary movie 2 here. He's like,
But
watch
you know
out,
what?
make
To
room
them,
for
that was-
Hank. Back it up.
Yeah.
Holy.
I mean, I remember,
What do you say,
I
Fanny?
remember, talking
Make room
about
for Fanny.
originality in the internet.
Watch it. Fanny's
You know,
coming.
We're all getting off on the...
People always,
Oh,
they paid for the internet back in the 90s.
Yeah.
Me, I was that
Always
smart kid that got those 1,000-hour discs and repeatedly just made new accounts. So I had the internet for free for years until we got to DSL.
Yeah.
And then from DSL we got to wireless and what we have now. And it's just like,
Dal-
why would anybody have paid for that back then?
Dalton and I are over here. We started talking about a scary movie too. We're talking about Make Room for Fanny, Mr. The hand, the guy,
The butler.
the butler. I forget his name, Mr. Hanson. Is it Hanson?
Something.
Oh my gosh! But those are some other good original films. Like you go back to like the early days of the spoof movies. There's some good ones there. But then they obviously I feel like after Scary Movie 2, they start to. I mean, because then obviously they're just repeats. Like most movies, they don't stick to a genre. They just start ripping off what's new.
Yeah.
Scary movies started to do that. They were supposed to focus on scary movies, and by Scary Movie 4 or 5, they're parodying, like War of the Worlds
Yeah.
and other stuff. And,
I honestly, I couldn't watch them after the third one because I was like, okay, that's enough for
yeah,
me.
the first, if they would, I was talking to Dalton, and I was like, I know this goes off topic of originalities, but if they want to bring Scary Movie back, they got to go back to like Ghostface and
You're
spoofing
saying
back,
that
going back to the
last night.
horror route, like a reboot. Bring Doofy back, because Doofy is freaking awesome.
They can make more out of that character, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't
Just
disturb
the
me
way
when I'm
he
cleaning
had to
my
drive
room.
off. The way he had to drive off, I was just so unhappy with. It's like, I want to know more.
I can already see the teaser. It just like comes out of his room again. He's like, "Don't disturb me when I'm cleaning my room again."
The vacuum kick on.
Yeah. The post-credit scene for that one. You guys remember that one? He was talking to the vacuum cleaner. He's like, "I told you. We can only." He's like, "No, we can't. We can't. We can only be friends." And he's like, "All right, just one more time."
No.
That was a good one.
Yeah,
Some
but
good spoofs.
talking about originality and so even with podcasts
That is
nowadays,
the 4th time you have said that.
I know. I'm trying to keep them on subject, which is weird.
Don't be talking about. We're gonna be podcast on podcasts later down the road.
Well, no.
in the future.
If you look at them, like so many of them are the same. It's like even they can't.
Well, even back in the early days when radio was new, that's technically was podcasting. We just come up with new terms for it. You know what I mean?
I mean, that was the television of
Yeah,
it. People
yeah.
tuned in at a certain time. There'd be stories. People would be reading
Yeah.
different things.
Howdy doody time.
But yeah, but
Speaking about World of the Worlds.
Back to the
man,
Future. Howdy doody time.
yeah, it's that
didn't
stories.
Yeah. How that started a whole mass craze.
Yeah. Yeah.
They thought World of the
Oh,
Worlds was
yeah,
actually
People
happening.
thought that they were getting a real news broadcast and the
Oh, in that
world was
movie.
going to
No,
war.
no, we were talking about for real. This is
The
in-
radio,
this
whenever,
is in-
because it was on the radio.
It was a
This is the
book,
50s?
and they were reading the book.
Yeah, they were reading the
Oh.
book. War of the
And
Worlds.
it's terrified the nation
Yeah.
because
And
they
people
thought it
started
was an actual
panicking and-
war.
Orson Welles was reading his book, and the people.
What?
Yeah, like my grandpa told me that because he was there for it.
Oh my
And
gosh, that's awesome.
he goes, man, people were just going ballistic.
I can imagine that.
Like the phone lines were, dead. Like you couldn't read because they were over.
Everybody was probably like, do you know about this? And it's like, yes, it's the radio. Hello? Hello? Bring. Or they were doing this back in the day. Hello? Hello? No. Click. Hello? Hello?
That shows the
switch over.
impact though,
Yeah,
of like original things like that. Because go like back in those times, like whenever black and white TV when Doctor Who had first come out, and whenever they did their first Doctor transformation, the entire UK stopped. They stopped because they had never seen anything like that before.
yeah.
It was the buzz for a very long time, and people still like tell their kids because now with the Doctor Who series had made a comeback and everything, they're telling their kids, oh well, this was my experience. You should have seen when the first and that's a really cool thing.
And you saying that right there, Doctor Who, I believe, is the longest running show in history. Mm-hmm. Next to that, it would be Price is Right.
Prices, oh man,
that's
right.
Another thing with originality right there. Game
Wow.
shows.
Yeah.
It's like that seems to be the thing that I've noticed really sticks with originality. Like there's so many different variations, and it's like
There's not really not any game shows on
The
anymore
Nutcracker.
these days, is there?
Huh?
There's not really many game shows on
Honestly,
today anymore.
The Floor,
We don't have cable,
Price is
so
Right.
we don't really know.
Jeopardy,
Well, I knew Jeopardy and like
Let's Make a
still
Deal.
going. Let's Make a
I
Deal
like
still
Make-
going?
Yeah, Let's Make a
Wayne
Deal
Brady,
still going.
Wayne
way.
Brady hosts Let's Make a Deal.
Oh, that's right.
Now you've got the new.
I didn't know he was still doing that. That's
Now you've
crazy.
got the new version of Whammy or Pressure Luck,
Oh, okay.
which that's been done about 6 times now.
Says
I like
Whammy.
been a lot.
Whammy.
Yeah.
Says Whammy.
I
It
like
takes me
Whammy.
back to Anchorman. Oh, it's Whammy.
And whammy.
But like, and then you got like The Masked Singer.
Oh yeah.
That's a game show.
Yeah, I guess technically, yeah.
And it's kind of original because
Yeah.
they just pull different people. Some people you didn't even knew sung.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, game shows have some things have like take from what's has been and like
And they can
branch
make
off
something
with it,
original
or some
out of
have
it.
done or some have just done something completely.
Yeah.
And then you got the greatest game show of all time, in my opinion. Besides Price is Right, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
Is that still going
no,
too?
no.
I was
sadly.
gonna say.
At least not that I'm aware of.
I was gonna say there's
But
no
like,
way that's still going.
that was
I never
original.
would have made it past level 1.
Back in the day, man, I was watching that when Regis was running that.
Oh yeah.
Rest in peace, Regis. Regis was the man.
You
Little
know-
Nicky,
Regis
remember
family.
Little Nicky? He was on Little.
Was he on Little Nicky?
Yes.
Yeah, he says, he's like, I took my bad hours. He's like, I just started working.
Oh yeah.
Like
He's
I was the
Like De Niro.
Corleones on
He was doing Regis and Kelly.
Yeah, he's like, I was De Niro. He's ever seen Untouchables? I was De Niro. Freaking love Little Nicky, man. Adam Sandler. He's got some good original stuff too.
You know
As
what?
much hate as he gets, you know what
Yeah.
I mean. He's got original.
He's still getting hate.
Oh, everybody. There's people that just don't get
Speak-
his fun humor because people can't enjoy life like that.
You're saying Sandler in originality. His new movie that he's working, you turn back on.
Scared me.
Probably over here.
Piece of shit. It's gonna drive me nuts.
Maybe,
One of my favorite like original ideas that has sprouted a literal like huge thing. Like if you think about it, zombies.
Oh yeah.
George Romero's original zombie.
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
Iconic.
Yes. The king of zombies, man.
Yes. And
Wouldn't have him without him.
we
Night of
would
the Living
And if
Dead
we
started
did,
it all.
if we did have it without him, like a universe without
What would
George
it
A.
be like?
Romero, what would it be like?
Same thing with Stan Lee.
Who knows?
Yeah,
Stanley.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Another legend,
Yeah.
man.
yeah.
This show's dedicated to nothing but legends.
It just like the zombies have just come. There's so many different variations.
Yeah, they've
'Cause-
come a long way.
Yeah, well, because like in the original they talked, and you know that made them
And-
kind of eerie, and
and
then
was-
but they lose that ability over time as zombies have you know adapted and grown from what they started out.
Well,
Speaking of that, have you ever seen the Santa Clarita Diet?
Of course, we are very mad.
We were very
Love
upset
that
that they
show.
canceled it.
Yeah.
To this day, anytime somebody's like, "Oh, what's this series that canceled
Season-
Ursley?" I'm like, "Santa Clarita Diet."
Season 3 ended, like we were so hyped for it. And then, like, what was it,
That
like?
was-
A week later.
It wasn't much. It
later.
wasn't too
That
long
was,
later they announced it.
That was one of my favorite Timothy Oliphant TV shows.
He was perfect.
Him and Drew Barrymore, their chemistry was
Yeah.
on
Their
point.
chemistry was perfect in that show. Have you seen it?
And I mean, since the show's canceled, honestly,
will tell
spoilers,
you.
who cares?
Yeah.
The way they
Is it
ended it
like
with
a-
Timothy ended up becoming
Yes.
is
Yeah.
freaking awesome.
Well,
awesome.
but
I
we
couldn't
don't even
wait.
know what happened to him because we'd never seen anything like that before. Honestly, it's an amazing show.
It's so
Just be
good.
prepared. It cuts you off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What
it was
was
like
it?
Daybreak.
Cuts
Was
you
it Daybreak you showed me? We watched a couple
Mm-hmm.
episodes of that. You said, you know, if you want to keep watching, you can, but just so you know, they canceled after season 1. I was like, I'm done. I'm not gonna watch
Yeah.
anymore.
That's
of it.
honestly why
It's
I haven't
horrible.
started watching it because they
That's so
canceled it.
good too. He showed me
you-
like 2 episodes. It
Did
was
you
so
like
good.
it? I didn't know if you liked it or not.
I
I
did.
liked it. That is a very
But when
original.
you give me the heads up that they canceled it, I was like, well, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna
So-
finish it then.
Yeah.
I was listening to another podcast yesterday, I think it was, and they were talking about special effects. And it's like, that has changed so much and has gotten more complex, even
Yeah.
like, what was it they said?
And unfortunately, speaking of non-originality, that's all they resort to anymore instead
Yeah.
of going practical.
Hey,
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Stan
dude,
Winston, the king of practical
Dude.
effects. Oh,
Dude, calm down. You're just mad because you're still not getting your 4K True Lies.
shut the F up, man. Speaking of originality, True Lies, man, that's a freaking good one. And non-originality, all James Cameron wants to do is just make sequels of his Avatar world,
Yeah.
which I get, man. It's a cool world and stuff, man.
It's
but
just
Obvi-
Pocahontas in space.
Obviously not, because you know what?
He's making
I've not
money
seen
though.
any
I
of
know.
them.
the
I
first
don't-
one's really good.
I don't care to see
It
it
was-
because to me they look stupid.
Honestly, it was more hyped and better during its time, but because we've gotten so many things since then, when you go back and revisit, the effects have enhanced since then. But it just eats at me, man, is the fact that he went back and gave Avatar 2009 film that already looked good, a 4K new enhanced.
And what is it you said that's getting ready to come out? And it's more AI generated.
True Lies got an AI 4K treatment. I'm just ticked off because all of his other films got a full restoration, full blown
TJ, why did
restoration.
you even have to bring this up?
Yeah.
Because I do it just
Now
to
the,
piss them off.
now the podcast is going to turn into nothing but True Lies. It's going to be a True Lies
Well,
podcast
when
now.
you open your mouth, they are true lies.
I don't know about that.
So anywho,
All I speak is true.
back on subject matter.
He's the lies. That's how the True
Okay.
Lies comes into play. I'm the truth teller, you're the liar.
Okay.
Real talk.
Okay. So anywho, here's a subject we haven't touched on with originality: music.
Yeah, because we're talking all things
Everybody-
originality. All
Everybody
things original.
gets on to me because I hate today's music.
A lot of today's music isn't
I
the
hate
best.
it. There's
the good
nothing
stuff,
original
too.
about it.
There is a lot of good stuff too.
There is
Princess
some good
Goes to
stuff.
the Butterfly Museum.
Yes.
Anybody?
Michael C. Hall, Dexter, and everybody.
Like,
Now again.
you know, like the kids, all they listen to is rap. That shit is garbage.
Yeah.
Plain and
Well, most of
simple,
you.
garbage.
Talking about that WAP.
Oh yeah.
Worship and praise. That's right.
Worship and praise.
But, you know,
Oh my God.
How are we going though, time wise?
I don't know.
I don't know if he's the one that was looking at your watch. I thought he was the one paying attention.
Yeah, it says 11:54.
I thought
Doesn't
this,
mean I wasn't paying attention.
well, this guy over here probably would have.
I didn't know if you wanted me to start looking.
Maybe
at
at
it
the
or
other
not.
time, keep every podcast, man. Look, now we
I
sound
was
so.
one time.
You
I
say
volunteered
every
one time.
podcast.
We sound
This is our
so.
second
We sound so
I did it one
unprofessional and
time.
unorganized.
But if
guys.
you-
Everybody's gonna stop listening after
You can
episode
cut it
2.
out.
Oh my
You can
gosh.
cut it out. It'll be all right.
So, getting back to what I was saying.
Yes, sir.
I listened
Major pain.
to
It's only been 30 minutes.
Yeah,
I listened to Johnny Cash's grandson sing Folsom Prison the other day. Holy shit, where's this kid been hiding? If you haven't heard, he sounds just like Johnny. Craziest thing. And he's a big boy too. But that right there, that is some of the best music ever created was Johnny Cash.
I cast it has some pretty good music.
Ring of Fire.
Yep.
A ring of
Well,
fire.
that
but
he
it's
started.
2024. A Ring of Fire could mean so many different things, and none of them are good.
Well, you've seen
You,
Walk,
you better
Walk
go
the
to
Line,
yeah.
right?
You better go to a
Pretty sure I got started.
gynecologist.
Joaquin Phoenix.
That was original.
Silent Hill is getting a revamp.
Yeah.
He deserves one.
I'm
about time.
super excited. Well, because the very first movie I thought was amazing. I
Yeah.
thought it was a really good
It was
movie.
some
And of
good
course,
work.
the games are stellar.
Mm-hmm.
The second one that they came out with, it needed some help. It needed help.
You know,
Lay back down, baby.
Don't tell TJ he's gonna get all mad.
I know. I already saw it.
Well, it's probably because it overheated. It's probably not best to film with GoPros, cameras.
No, probably shouldn't. But anywho,
They overheat too quickly.
you know,
Plus, I need the newer one.
that's an original thought for you there, bud.
Hey. Originality.
Anywho, you know,
Anywho.
talking about, you know, I lost track of what I was trying to say.
Don't lose
Go
too
figure.
Much, don't lose too much track.
I tend to do that. I tend to forget. But
Originality in music. I don't know. Today it seems kind of lost. Everybody's out trying to make money.
yeah, but
They don't want
now it's you know, like I saw something about Kane Brown and some girl I've never even heard of. They both went to junior high together. They both took two different paths. She went the route of American Idol. You know, okay, cool. And he went the route of social media. It seems like everybody is just trying to rely on social media to get famous. They don't want to put the work in anymore. And that's a problem.
Yeah. Well, and then everybody makes quick, you know, with the TikToks and
Stupidest idea.
OnlyFans and
Greatest
all
idea.
that. Everybody wants to make a quick thing and not be original and be creative, make their own content anymore. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's why I told Sarah, I was like, you know, I only consider people content creators if like you're actually like putting in the work, you know, like because there's some of those content creators that just turn the camera on real quick and dance to a song and all that stuff. And,
Okay.
well,
That was weird. Okay. But,
yeah.
you know, that's the problem with originality today. Like, they want to do it the quickest, the easiest, without putting in the work. Like, you look at Mr. Beast, okay? A kid, go back to, what was it, about 2.5 years ago. You told me,
Hey. Pause. Lay back down, sweetie.
anything can happen live on, you know, podcasts.
Or whenever you can't get anybody to watch, you can.
About 2 or 3 years ago, you were telling me about you were playing this game where you had to keep your finger on your phone or whatever, and it was done by Mr. I'm like, who the hell's that? And you're like, you've never heard of him? I'm like, no. So you sent me some of his stuff, and I started watching. I'm like, okay, this kid's kind of cool, you know. He took his success and blew it up to bigger and better things, like, you know, and now you see people trying to follow in his footsteps, you know.
Well, not only that, but I mean, you see all these content creators who almost like who just react to other people's videos, which is basically just using their content, or some people will take, like, for example, like fail armies videos and upload them, and they'll be like, call it their own fail something, you know what I
Right.
mean? Like, you see that with so many things where people steal other people's content and re-upload it. I mean, we had that, for instance, with our Halloween Unforgiving film, where somebody took it, re-uploaded it, and the only thing that they didn't, like, add a logo or add anything, the only thing that they added was in the description, it said, "This film was made by me and RBG Studios." And I'm just like, hold up.
And then
Who are you, kid? You know what I mean?
and then the one guy that commented on the video that we stole his script.
Yeah, apparently somebody said I had stolen a script when I was like, I remember writing this in my own, like, I was in my own place.
We asked him to show proof, and he never once showed us proof.
Yeah, but it's whatever.
You know.
But then months after we've made our film, we've seen, like, a couple short fan films, like, it looked like they were almost like copying our scene, like, same, like, shot, like pan shot, music, just in a different, location, obviously, in a different
I think there was one in particular that we watched where they really did rip off one of our kill scenes, if I remember correctly. And that's again, people can't be original.
Yeah, and I know with my fan film, like fan films, you kind of, like, with the story we were following, there was not really a whole lot of originality there. The killer wasn't original, all that stuff, because we were kind of taken from, but we tried to tell our own story while connecting it to the original series, like, if I didn't have that specific story in mind, I probably would have wanted to tell my own recreation or something of Michael or something, but we're going to be doing that with our fan film director's cut, which we'll talk about one day on this podcast too,
You said yours wasn't really original. Okay, yeah, we followed the original continuity, but when you stop and think about it, everything about it was original.
Lay down, baby.
Minus the character names.
I'll be right back.
Okay. But and that's the thing. If you look at some of the comments that we got, people were talking about how original it was, how interesting it was, how much they wish it had been a feature-length film.
Yeah, me too, man, me too.
And that just shows you that, originality was huge in play there. Unlike the piece of garbages that we saw, Halloween Ends, Halloween Kills, Halloween whatever that one was.
Yeah.
And then,
then if you think about it, talking originality, Halloween Ends, like, it was like they were trying to be original and go their own story, but it just didn't do well. And it didn't work. It didn't play out, especially for being the ending. Like, you couldn't have told that story in between, like with Halloween Kills, and then...
I got to correct myself with Halloween Kills. Technically, that was original. Because, they introduced the great Corey Cunningham. I mean,
not in Halloween Kills, it was in Ends.
Whatever, same thing. Fuck if I know. I don't pay attention to names. But that wasn't a Michael Myers film. That was the Corey Cunningham story.
Yeah.
Bastards.
See, what do you think if they were to make something like that with Robert Engel? He's talked about it before. He wants his own original idea where they put on Freddy after, like, what leading up to him was like before Freddy got
apparently
burned.
they're going to do it because he's spearheading it.
That's one thing I just dislike, though. We don't need, with some of these classic characters, we don't need to go back and dive into that because that doesn't feel original. I like the mystery. Like,
you
with
don't want to go back and dive into that Predator?
I hate to tell you
with
this.
Michael Myers, I know a lot of people love that about Rob Zombie, like, because that is original. He did his own story, even though it was kind of rednecky. I mean, no offense, nobody can.
The only good thing about Rob Zombie's versions was Danielle Harris.
Well, I mean, she was great in Halloween 4 or 5 too. That was like one of my top 5 crushes back in the day. Not talking about Topanga or Kimberly from Power Rangers or any of that stuff. Anyway, talking about going back to like Rob Zombie's Halloween, how he told that story of Michael Myers, that mystery. Like, he got rid of that mystery by telling that story and showing him as a kid. And Jason Voorhees hasn't gotten that treatment yet, thankfully. We haven't really gone back, but we're about to, because they're about to do a prequel series.
No, you're wrong on both fronts on 2 different things.
No,
we got the original story of
with his mom,
Freddy and Jason. You saw what led up to Jason.
Well,
So
they changed the continuity there and it didn't work.
No, it
Him
sucked.
being picked on, he shouldn't have been being picked on. He came back because his mom died and stuff like that. But anyway, like it just so I mean, like yeah, with Freddy Krueger, I don't need to see it because I know that we've kind of got that in Freddy vs. Jason a little bit when he was talking about his backstory at the beginning. But then we also got that in the reboot, which we're not going to talk
Don't even
about.
get me started on that.
But then we also got it a little bit in Freddy's Dead, kind of.
Yeah.
They kind of backstory a little bit in 4 and 5, talking about like the dream child and find out who he was and
how
the
he
spin
came
cycle
about.
and how he
So
came.
do a little bit in Freddy vs. Jason. The
Yeah.
very
Yeah,
beginning.
that's what I
Yeah,
said.
and
That he was
yeah.
narrating. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
They
talked
showed
about
a few
that.
clips in there.
A
Didn't
little
they?
bit, yeah, of him.
So I mean,
But I mean,
But-
like that's I don't need like a full
I'd
movie
rather see
or
that
a
than another
series
reboot or something else.
because Friday the 13th is getting that in a series form.
Okay.
Unfortunately, like they're wanting to do that,
You
and
know,
now
you like the
Halloween
Chucky?
because it's got bought a new series, it's wanting to go back and do.
you know what?
release.
I'm amazed that they didn't try to do that.
The
with.
Chucky series is great because it's continuing, and that's what I love
Okay.
about Chucky's because Chucky's like one of the longest continuing. No matter how silly or goofy it gets, he's still going.
But-
and
but-
he got a remake,
But did you?
thinking that was it, and he still came back.
But did you notice though that they never did a backstory on Charles Lee Ray?
Yeah,
You know
That's what
why?
it would be.
Because people didn't care.
we didn't really.
We didn't, like you said, people like the mystery.
Yeah.
Charles Lee Ray. They talk about him in the first one. He was a something strangler. You know.
I mean, how many times do they try to do that, and not even just in horror, but where it works well, like in Star Wars. I mean, because we got the first one, then we went back, and then we got the prequel story. You know,
And then you get all the way to
which is funny that we like them more now because of the
Right.
new sequels that we got. Which
Well,
Do you think they're
Like-
doing
like-
too much Star Wars though?
like you get
Too much Star
you
Wars.
You get to episode 9 and you find out, which totally goes against the books because the great evil is Palpatine. No, in the books, the greatest evil was actually Luke. You found out Leia was the balance of the Force.
Luke doesn't need to be evil. That's silly.
No,
too.
that was in the books in the 70s.
Well, still, that's silly too. I don't like that.
Oh, of course, you want Luke to be the good guy because you're a weirdo.
What's wrong with keeping him as the good guy?
Way to be original.
Return of the Jedi.
Something new.
I mean, speaking of and talking about Disney, like Disney hears this or Disney wants to talk about.
What the?
That was sorry, guys.
It was telling us something in Morse code.
If people want to talk about originality, Disney hears Disney. Listen, you guys need to be original.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's all
They
you're doing.
just
is
bought up everything.
pumping out Star Wars. Yeah, you bought everything. Pumping out Star Wars content. Pumping out tons of other content. That's all they do is pump out content and sequels and remakes. And they're wanting to give us a Toy Story 5, which
Why?
I don't know, but apparently the route that they're wanting to go, or the story is, the rumors are that like Andy's gonna have kids and somehow his original toys get back to his kid, like he wants
Reboot.
something like that, which
One year,
would
yeah.
still be is an interesting idea because growing up with Andy from 2 to 3 was really nice. But the fact that because Toy Story is such a hot item, that
Kept
they
going.
want to keep, that they just want to keep going off of that and
how
not
is
give
it
us.
still a hot item. I don't get that.
Well, who doesn't love Toy Story, dude?
Yeah.
Like when Dutch started getting into Toy Story and we were watching Toy Story over and over, dude, I freaking loved it because I love Toy Story. So when we were watching like 1 and 2, like the first 2 he loved the most. We were watching those back to back.
Some
Dude,
really crazy imagination.
I was so excited to get off of like Sesame Street and Baby Shark
Yeah.
to watch
Well,
Toy Story over and over. I was like, hell yeah!
Speaking of continuity and Toy Story, I bet you didn't know this.
Not continuity. This is an originality
Well,
podcast, not a continuity podcast.
It's an original continuity. How's
If anybody wants a continuity podcast, maybe on our Facebook poll, we can do a "You Want a Continuity" podcast.
But if you look at Monsters Inc., I think it was, or Monsters Universe, one of the two, Sid is a trash man. I'm like,
Oh my god.
No, that's in Toy Story 3.
no.
You see him in Toy Story
also
3.
also in one of the
No,
monsters.
what's
And the
in
Pizza
Monsters
and
Inc.
Pizza
is
Planet trucks in
the monster
Oh,
that
yeah.
comes out that got terrified by the kid. You can see Sid's poster in the room. If you
Is it?
look behind, yes.
Okay, I stand corrected.
Sometimes this kid here, he does not know what he's talking about. Never at all. Hit us with a good one-liner. Hit us with a good one-liner.
You can't just force that stuff. You walk up to comedians and ask them to tell a joke?
Their whole life. That's the joke.
Oh, Lord.
I mean, look at them. I mean, how can you not laugh?
You're so funny.
I wish the damn camera was working so people could see this.
Going back to an original idea, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys know that was just a bet?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, somebody bet her that to write the book, and she used her husband's name as her pen name because back then women weren't allowed to post novels and stuff.
Oh, shit. So books to movies, do you think that's really an original idea? Or do you think it's something different in itself?
Books?
Yeah, like say Star Wars was a book before it was a movie. You know, Lord of the Rings. Okay, let's go with Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
How do you think that was... Would you call that an original art? Or would you call that
I think
like a
that it
remake?
depends on how close the movie is.
I
to
would
the book.
I would
Well,
say in
is
a,
it the idea to get it as close to
well,
the
I
book,
would say
or
in a
is it
sense,
actually
yeah,
a
like
thing?
because you got the Harry
I guess
Potter
that's what
books and the
that
Harry
too.
Potter movies,
Which
and
they
stuff like
didn't
that. Which, and I know, and again, the unoriginality, they're wanting to reboot the series, which is way too soon in my opinion. But honestly,
no, they're not rebooting it. They're actually telling it from a different standpoint, and they're going to actually make it
well, I know they can
to where you can get all of the stuff that was in the books, which that's original if you think about
It's
it.
more
Well,
detailed.
Yeah.
Well, I was just saying from that transfer that Dalton's talking about, that I totally feel like, yeah, it could be original because some people, like Sarah, for instance, she loves books, and I can get imagination because, you know, I write movie scripts and stuff, and I can still put my imagination onto paper. But as far as reading somebody else's, I don't really, it takes me a few times to get that imagination, but I get it more clear watching video image and stuff. So like I like watching the movies. So I've never read all the Harry Potter books, for instance. Only the first two because it was like required in school to read some books.
And then
Oh,
for
yeah.
me,
And she loves them.
I can read a book and I'm immediately transported into a movie. I'm
Yeah.
watching it happen.
You talk about reading the Harry Potter books.
So I feel like it's original because you're giving people like us
Yeah.
different ways
Yeah.
to
Absorb that media.
yeah.
Okay.
When the Harry Potter books came out, I was in 4th, 5th grade. So, you know, it was early 90s, mid 90s, okay? And that was about the time that Hey Arnold had come out on Nickelodeon. So when I was reading the books, I pictured Uncle Vernon as the landlord from Hey Arnold. I don't know why, but that's how I always pictured him. You know what I'm talking about? The short, heavy-set guy.
You know,
Hey
you
Arnold.
remember Hey Arnold?
I remember
Yeah.
Hey Arnold, but I don't remember the
Why?
landlord.
Why? That's how I always pictured him. And so when he came out and, you know, Richard Griffith played him in, I was like, damn, that's pretty damn close. Short, fat guy. I'm like, yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's also the same with like even like Audible. You know, like how.
Oh yeah.
For me, like I actually enjoy listen. I'd rather listen to somebody read it to me because then I can kind of like if I want to follow along, like
You don't have
'cause,
to
like,
worry
you
about the
can,
words.
or I can just sit back and listen and have somebody read it to me, or
Yeah, I love it because I can do other tasks like cleaning. I can still listen to a story. I love it.
Definitely haven't checked out Audible. I need to.
It's honestly it's one of my favorite subscriptions that I still pay for. Like it's
That's cool.
you get depending on what plan you pick, you can get basically one free book a month. I'm on like I get one free book, and it's like $15 a month. So I'm getting a book.
Nice.
Yeah, and audiobooks can get pretty expensive. I think I have 170 something titles. That's how long I've had it.
Jeez.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I've bought a few because they actually have sales all the time. But
And Google Play, a lot of times they'll send me free audiobooks. Just because I have Google Play. So,
Spotify's doing audiobooks now. If you have their paid subscription, you can have access to audiobooks.
okay.
so we're coming up on almost the hour. kind of got off track a little bit tonight with originality, but honestly, I think that's what makes...
That's original.
Yeah, it's original, yeah.
Well, we've been talking about original pieces and non-original
Just
pieces.
kidding, actually. I mean, that's how life is, too. Real life. Real
Yeah.
talk. Sometimes life gets off topic. You know what I mean?
Talking about originality, though, again, for just a second.
That's
Going back,
the whole podcast is about.
going back to...
Kid over here.
Going back to Hey Arnold.
Let's talk about originality. That's what this whole
I found out
topic.
I found out not too long ago something about Hey Arnold that I thought was freaking hilarious.
What?
What about Harold? You're in love with Harold, aren't you,
Right.
TJ?
Apparently.
Mr. Kokoschka. Okay?
Movie football hash. Oh, you should.
Kokoschka is German. Okay?
No.
And in German, Kokoschka means piece of shit. Think about what they named him.
Well, I mean, he was a piece
Yeah.
of shit.
And it fit. And I was like, that's freaking great. I'm like, how Nickelodeon got away with that? 'Cause it's like,
Because a young audience wouldn't know that.
I was like, that's awesome.
Definitely the guy that cleared the names was not German.
Who here is a Percy Jackson fan? Have you been
That's
watching
back
the
in
new
YouTube.
series?
I gotta start it.
I feel like
Because-
this episode, me and Dalton have been sitting on the side benches. I've been bench warmers.
Cool as warming a bench.
You should be used to that. You
When you guys
your
get
li-
talking about Wednesday and I'm talking
Yeah.
about Percy Jackson, like
Yeah.
we're not we don't
Well,
we
throw
don't
out
know.
some ideas. I'm throwing
don't
out
know.
ideas. Throw out an idea.
What have we watched that they haven't on?
Nothing.
I'm gonna go back on that. Go back to MXE, how that was original. Going
Yes.
back to the game
Dude,
shows.
they're bringing that back though.
What was it?
MXE. Most Extreme Elimination
Really?
Challenge.
Oh yeah.
They,
We used to watch that at your house all the time.
I've never heard of that.
what? It had the two Japanese guys were the hosts,
Oh my
and
god.
the American subtext would be some random BS.
Yeah, and the boulder chaser, how the boulder was
Oh,
called. Aguila Dushi.
So
I stayed up late to watch
I
that
know
show.
you guys can't see it because the camera stopped again, but you know they'd be like, you hear the Japanese guy, and then the American would be like, "Holy crap! Look at that boulder there! It's coming right at us.
Yeah.
We should run!"
It's turned into snick at night.
But they just announced that they're bringing it back.
Oh my god.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
After all that time.
everything back.
I love that show.
They-
I
And
love
why
it.
is that? Because I can't think of anything original.
Everything's coming back.
I just think that's funny. Crazy Japanese game shows, Chinese, whatever.
Yeah, it was
Like-
good.
That is very
Like-
original.
Oh,
The lube climb, where they got the lube running down the steps.
But nothing wrong with a little bit of bringing things back with a little bit of nostalgia, you know what I'm saying? Nothing wrong with that.
well, I mean, if we're going to talk a little bit of nostalgia, let's talk about our nostalgia, Kablam.
Yes.
Blam. We sat and
Love-
watched some
We
Blam
did. We sat and
one
watched
night.
some Kablam.
We went back. We time traveled back to the
You never
past.
heard of Kablam?
What?
That's
was-
Nickelodeon.
No, that was
Nick at Night, man.
Cartoon
Yeah,
Network.
it was Nick at Night.
No.
Was it Nick at Night?
Snick at Night.
Oh,
That's what I was
Oh.
saying. I thought it was one of those quirky shows.
like Real Talk After Dark, but for children.
what,
Was it?
No.
do you guys remember
It was
Chalk Zone?
it was a children's version of Robot Chicken.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah,
it was.
Action figures?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you remember Chalk Zone?
Action League, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
I like
Chalk
Chalk
Zone.
Zone.
Yeah.
Beavis and Butthead talking about bringing things back. That was freaking awesome. Sarah's not a fan, but
No.
I loved it.
They had some
I
good
was
episodes.
cracking up, dude. I even told her, I said, I'm surprised I didn't wake you up because I was just like, I was laughing like at least every 30 seconds to a minute with the movie and the 3 seasons we got. Because it came back with 1 season in the movie, and then, or no, we got 2, or no, we just got the 2 seasons in the movie. Because technically, when I'm talking about the new season, I'm going back to like 2013 when it came back for 1 season, and then it disappeared. And I was like, if it never comes back, I'm glad it at least came back once. And then it came back again for 2 seasons in a movie, and we haven't got any freaking announcements on a season 3 or another movie. But I would like one. I'll take it.
But see,
Take it.
you didn't see Beavis and Butthead do the universe until I came over and we watched it together.
Oh, you are full of lies.
We
Real
watched
talk,
it-
mister.
No, we watched it the night it
I
dropped.
watched that mother effer up here by myself at midnight when it dropped. Mofo.
You
I get
lied
in
to
on
me.
you.
She said you waited until I came over.
No, I told you I had already watched it. Those guys was making shite up tonight. It's gonna be turned into
A real smackdown here in a second when I beat you with your own cup.
now going back to True Lies. It's gonna be True Lies After Dark. We're gonna have to change our title to instead of Real Talk, be True Lies because we're over here telling the truth. Our teachers over here telling lies.
Film of all time.
No, it was not, man. Dude, no, man, no. You want to talk about the worst Arnold Schwarzenegger film of all time? They could be a battle between Hercules in New York or Batman and Robin.
Oh, no. You can't say that about Batman and Robin. I don't care what anybody says.
Hey, it is a bad movie, but I admit it.
No, it was a,
It's a good bad movie.
It was a great movie, bad director.
Hey, don't talk smack on Joel Schumacher. Lost Boys, anybody? I mean, he created some good movies.
But
He
Lost
just-
Boys is top notch.
And honestly, he was just doing what the studio told him to.
Yeah.
They said, make us a basically toy commercial movie. And he's like, okie dokie.
But you know what?
Because the toy sold.
He made.
Rest in peace to that man, too, man. He's losing so many good legends anymore, man.
But he made Mr. Freeze. Like, I thought it was great. I don't care what you say.
Arnold Schwarzenegger is the only man that could make that man punny and funny at the same time. We killed the dinosaurs. The Ice Age.
Oh my god.
Freaking awesome, man. Nice to see you,
No.
Batman.
No, the greatest Arnold Schwarzenegger film of all time is Jingle All the Way.
Dude, Jingle All the Way is my favorite Christmas movie.
I would disagree. I think Arnold's best movie is Predator.
Yes.
I really love me some Predator.
Yeah, but the reason I said Jingle All the Way is because you got to see him in his comedic side.
No, he definitely
yeah.
has many angles for
Yeah.
acting.
It's so hard for me to pick, but like I would have to say, like if I were to pick like my top 5 Arnold Schwarzenegger movies, it'd obviously be Predator. You gotta throw Kindergarten Cop
Oh
in
yeah,
there.
definitely.
That's a good one.
I mean T2.
Oh, that's a good one too.
I mean he's got so many darn good movies. Last Action Hero, I would throw in there because that's an underrated movie.
Maggie was a really good one.
Yes.
Maggie was great. That was a really great recent one.
And I liked that kind of original spin on
Yeah.
zombieism.
Yep.
That was very interesting.
Yeah.
It's so hard to throw what my 5th would be, man, because I like me some Conan. I like me some Total Recall. I like me some Raw Deal. That's another underrated classic. And
I still don't know what your hatred of 6 Day is, though.
I don't have hate on Sixth Day. He just said that was his one of his favorite Arnold
one of my
movie.
favorites.
And I said that it doesn't make my top 5 is all I told him last night. I said it's a great film. It just doesn't make my top 5. Sixth Day was a really good movie. It just doesn't make my top 5. Nothing wrong with it. I love the movie. It's one of those movies that gets hate, as I say, it's underrated because it gets kind of shit on. Like End of Days. End of Days gets crapped on too. That's a really good movie. I like End of Days.
Yeah.
That movie made me cry. It still makes me cry to this day because it's the only Arnold movie where he dies that he's a human. Because when he dies in Terminator, he dies as a robot. So that's okay, because I'm like, I mean, it's still sad, but he's a robot. No emotions, you know what I mean? But at the end of days, he sacrifices himself for the greater good.
We've officially had an hour.
And it makes me cry every time because it's so beautiful. And the
one
camera
thing I wish-
audience doesn't get to see
Yeah, I
that.
know. I wish the camera was on for that one, because
Well, you might want to turn the camera on for the
no,
outro goodbyes.
I'm tired of turning it on because it wants to shut off.
Yeah, but it might have cooled down long enough for us to say our goodbyes.
He said,
Freaking TJ.
Okay,
So
camera's
for all
back on.
those listening, all those watching, I hope these have been good. Tell us your thoughts in the comments below and on our Facebook page. So what are you thinking of the Real Talks?
Our Facebook page that we don't even have yet.
Oh, don't even talk like that, because when these come out, everything's gonna be out.
I'm just giving them crap, guys, because I've been on them about it for about a week
This
now.
guy likes to give me crap all the time, man. You don't get this chucked at your head.
Hey.
Yes.
I made that mug.
I know.
You
I
bet.
appreciate it.
See,
Real Talk After Dark, sponsored by RBG Studios. 12 Years Entertainment DVD box set. RBGC vlogs, also on YouTube. Check out those vlogs. Good vlogs, good times of our life.
Originality.
And we put out that positive content. And what else?
Consume media, whether it be original or not, because it's most of the time going to be good.
That's right. And doors over there, don't let it hit you in the ass on the way out. All right, good night. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
That's not it, guys. Don't go anywhere yet. Because as we come back next week,
we're
going to be talking about, what is it, TJ? What is film?
No, what draws us to film.
What draws us to film? Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
What draws us to film as not only filmmakers, but viewers. Because obviously, even before I got into filmmaking, I was drawn to film before I even wanted to make film. So, yeah, that'll be a really great topic as you join us in episode 3. We talk about what attracts us to film.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I think that one's going to be a real deep one.
But hopefully everybody enjoyed it. We didn't get too much off topic and you enjoy
I'm
these.
trying to figure out that one.
Dude, you don't even remember, man. We got 3 more episodes. We got lots to talk about. Real talk. And like I said, anybody has anything, because we don't want to just, get too off topic, because this is real talk. We want to talk about anything and everything. Obviously, we want to stick to a certain topic, but we can talk all things life,
Well,
real life.
although we did make an agreement before we started this.
Well, I know we already talked about it. We even last time, whenever we started talking about it, we said no.
Did we really?
Yeah,
I don't remember.
I know
Yeah,
where you're
back
going
up.
with the political stuff.
TJ, you're also the person that wanted to go get coffee at 3 o'clock in the
That's
morning
right.
whenever
Oh my
you
God.
were literally on next, so I don't want to hear
And,
anything.
and they wouldn't let me.
5 minutes from camera rolling on the set of Halloween Unforgiving, where this man played Michael Myers, basically the star of the film,
Literally about to go into a big
the
shot.
iconic star of the film. Yeah, going to like the final act of the film,
Can I go get a coffee?
and this man comes up to me. "Can I get a cup of coffee?"
Yeah,
That's original right there.
sit-
That's gonna be a
you-
skit
you-
one
you
day. I'm gonna
sit-
turn that into a
yeah,
skit.
You sit there in a suit like that, in just your underwear, in freezing cold weather, with
Hey, you killed it, man.
with,
Literally.
with theater blood all over you. That's gel.
Hey, you killed it, man.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
Actually, it was chocolate syrup and food coloring. It wasn't gel. That's how those strains make their blood.
I don't give a shit what it was. It was cold, and I was in my boxers. How's that original for you? Most people would be smart and wear clothes underneath.
Well, TJ, you're not smart.
Then there was this one time these kids trying to freaking put on the overalls while he's wearing his hoodie, and I'm like, bro, it poofed him out like a marshmallow, man. He looked like the marshmallow. He looked like the Michelin man.
Yeah, don't forget that. I'm also
I said, TJ, you wearing a hoodie under that? I said, yeah. I'm like, take it off, dude.
I'm also the same man that walked into Ameren with a knife in my hand because it was 4 o'clock in the morning and those idiots don't lock their doors.
I told.
Why would you walk into
Oh
Aaron
yeah,
with
she
a
didn't know
knife?
about that, did she?
That was on the first
They're
day.
not idiots for not locking the doors. You're an idiot for going in there
No.
with a fucking
So
knife.
so we were curious as to if the doors were unlocked.
So you take a knife?
He was.
I
He said, I wonder if the doors were open.
I didn't remember having it in my hand until somebody said something after I walked back out. I'm like, oh shit, I do.
You hear me specifically
first
in
time I
the
checked
making
my
of behind
phone.
the scenes, where as soon as he goes in, you even hear me say,
TJ, what are you doing? Get out of there.
Yeah.
he turns around, what?
Yeah. It wasn't until somebody said something, dude. I'm like, oh crap, I got the knife. I'm like, whoops.
You're such a dumbass.
And
You
Good
make poor
times.
decisions.
Halloween
know.
Unforgiving full short film is on YouTube. You can check it out. Making of, it's on there. This whole story is on
Yeah.
there. You can check it out. I really wish we would have got on camera, like on vlog, like somebody was recording me behind the scenes when he came up and asked for coffee, because that's hilarious. But one day when we get RBG Studios up and running and we're making content all all around, and we create other multiple YouTube channels, and we bring back a Dead Zone 24 old school style type sketch comedy channel, RBG sketch comedy. That's gonna be a skit. That's gonna be a skit.
I got in trouble for that. Apparently,
it's gonna be called like Coffee at 4 a.m.
Apparently, somebody thought that I talked you into doing it. It wasn't me.
What?
Your old skits from Dead Zone 24.
No, that Dead Zone 24 is gone. It's dead. It's closed. It's canceled. Like, it's done. I'm just saying. I'm talking about doing sketches again, comedy style type. Because it was a plan whenever before we started RBG Studios vlogs. We were like, eventually we want to branch out, and Real Talk honestly was going to be just a small little segment on the vlogs, kind of like how trivia and positive thoughts are and stuff is just gonna cut to like a, like, man, I really hate opening doors for people and they don't say thank you. Real talk. Yeah. It's gonna be like that and then cut away. You know what I mean? Like
that is something I really do hate.
Well, yeah, I get it all the time now. People don't interact with anybody anymore. You walk down, I go places now, like you pass somebody or you happen to be stuck for a moment with somebody, like you're opening the door for them or anything like that, and you're like, you just say hi or how are you doing. You don't even get a hey or I'm good or nothing back. They just keep going. Like, so I'm just like,
I went out with some friends for one of my friend's kids' birthday a couple weeks ago, and there's about a good, what was it? They told us it was like a 2.5 hour wait. So as we're getting ready to leave, people are coming in. I'm like, hey, just so you know, they told us 2.5 hours. All right, forget that. Hey, thanks for letting me know, dude.
Right, yeah.
And I told like 15 people that, and I was like, wow, there's some decent people out here.
People would rather like you to be like, hey, how you doing? And somebody would just like get on their phone and like type it out like, I'm good, and like just show it to you. Like, just like, well, you can't tell me you're good? You can't tell me you could text it to me, man? Shh. Real talk. Strong. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We really appreciate it.
I mean,
thanks for sitting and listening with us. Be sure to do all fun things that comes with supporting if you enjoy it. With with the whole sharing with people that would be interested in this, that like to listen to this stuff, who like movies as well, who want to share and just chill in the ambience of some cool, chill people. After dark.
And then there's Ryan, who's ADHD for all of us.
Yeah, I just get a little excited. It's fun to bring a little energy. I'm like the energy of the group. You got to bring the energy. Otherwise, everybody's just live here just, originality, talking about originality. Well, that's what the podcast is about, TJ. That's where I come in and I bring the energy and I'm like, hey.
As your wife looks at you and says you're crazy with her eyes.
I get that. I felt it. That's why I didn't look over there. I know. I've been with this woman for nearly 7 years now. I know. I feel it. I sense it. I know it. But anyway, it's been real, y'all. Real Talk After Dark. Episode 2 in the can. Episode 3, what draws us to film. Come back next week. All that fun jazz.
We may have to get a couple of guests. Talking
I know we didn't unfortunately have time for a guest tonight. We kind of got into it, but we will down the road. But again, just thank everybody for being a part of Real Talk with us and joining us and giving us your time. Thank you.
Sounds good.